My name is H.A. Goodman, and I'm an author, columnist, and journalist. This is just unbelievable. Actually, it's very believable, and it's wonderful. And it's something that should happen, especially since President Obama won the Nobel Peace Prize for doing nothing. So this is just today. Norwegian lawmakers nominate Trump for Nobel Peace Prize. President Trump has been nominated by 2 Norwegian lawmakers for the Nobel Peace Prize following a summit with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. Hit subscribe right now to this channel. This is one of the few channels on YouTube that is going to give you the reality regarding a Trump presidency. They always said Clinton was flawed. She's not perfect, but you have to vote for her. Even though she actually did engage in crimes, she transferred top-secret intelligence from Cypriot JAWICs and SCIFs onto her unencrypted server. With Trump, they can't find Trump-Russia collusion. They can't find anything. And now the propaganda was, he's a madman. He'll cause a nuclear war. Oh, he really had a bad deal with North Korea. The peace talks, and there were even people, who was it? Like there was a couple people in Hollywood who were like, oh, you know what? If it's a choice between giving Trump credit and having peace between North and South Korea, it's a toss-up. Or like there was like a poll, and I forgot what it was on Twitter. It was like, I forgot who her name was, the comedian, some show where people actually voted against peace between North and South Korea and the United States of America. But let me just read you this. There have been some reasoned critique regarding Trump and North Korea, saying, well, North Korea is a gulag state and they have millions and millions and millions in concentration camps. Yes, this is horrible, and this is an atrocity, a travesty. I mean, there's no words to explain, but the issue here is South Korea being safer than it has been since 1953. That's the biggest issue, South Korean president. So just before I read today the fact that Trump is on his way to winning the Nobel Peace Prize, South Korea president says Trump deserves Nobel Peace Prize. This was on April 30th, 2018. If President Moon Jae-in believes that Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize, and if the president of South Korea feels that this is the best thing for the national security of his country, then yes, people should praise the deal. It's very important. The biggest issue here is the safety of South Korea. Not so much our safeties. North Korea can't touch us. And to compare North Korea to the Nazi regime or Hitler controlled all of Europe, invaded all of Europe, and almost was successful in invading the Soviet Union. The only country Kim Jong-un could invade is South Korea. And now, I mean, you have a situation where there's been a ceasefire, not a peace, a ceasefire. They've been at war since 1953. And it's gotten so bad that Christmas lights across the DMZ in South Korea was seen as an act of war by the North Koreans. So, I mean, and there's been endless tension, confrontation. You have millions of people in South Korea thinking perhaps, any day or any week North Korea could invade or whatever. Kim Jong-un could go ahead and test another ballistic missile, which, by the way, 23 ballistic missile tests were allowed under Obama's Iran deal. Could you imagine so they were okay with it, but people were okay with Obama's Iran deal that allowed 23 ballistic missile tests and no testing of military sites. And Iran didn't even have allegedly doesn't have the nuclear weapons yet. But this deal is, oh my God, so bad, and you have to, you can't work with this regime because they're so, as if the Iranian regime is like, so pure and innocent. You have to work and you have to strive for some kind of peace deal or peace negotiation with Iran. If it was a good deal, then that would be great. the document signed, of course, is very, very much more symbolic than it is North Korea promising to do X, Y, and Z, or, A, B, and C. But you never, in a million years, people never thought we'd ever even have the chance to have some kind of diplomacy with North Korea. The world is safer now. So let me just read you this. South Korean President Moon Jae-in, this is even more important than Norwegian lawmakers nominate Trump for Nobel Peace Prize, which took place today. But let me just bolster what these Norwegian lawmakers have said with this. South Korean President Moon Jae-in said U.S. President Donald Trump deserves a Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts to end the standoff with North Korea over its nuclear weapons program. President Trump should win the Nobel Peace Prize. What we need is only peace, Moon told a meeting of senior secretaries. Moon and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un on Friday pledged at a summit to end hostilities between their countries and work towards complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. If the only rebuttal is, well, you know what, we don't know if it's going to happen. Yeah, that we don't know if it's going to happen. Well, the document signed wasn't concrete in what North Korea will do. Yeah, okay. You didn't have those objections with the Iran deal, but fine. Are we not safer now? After having Kim Jong-un out in the open, meeting with Moon Jae-in in an historic meeting and shaking of hands and hugging each other. And I mean, you're talking about two peoples divided, the same people divided in two countries. And you now have an end to this overt hostility. So that alone is a huge, huge, huge victory. It's not only a political victory for Trump, but it's a victory for peace in terms of world history. This is not everything could be. There's certain warped and just bizarre ways to try to link or correlate everything back to World War II. But this isn't Hitler with Czechoslovakia, and this isn't Neville Chamberlain, and this isn't again, the only country that North Korea could have invaded is South Korea, and now even the president of South Korea, Moon Jae-in, is saying that Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. That's too much. That's too much for the Democratic Party, and that's too much for critics to even accept. They can't accept it. If you're a Democrat right now, the worst thing, I mean, you already had Bill Maher saying he wants a recession. You had Robert De Niro telling Trump to go F himself before this historic meeting. And it's okay. In January, Moon said Trump deserves big credit for bringing about the inter-Korean talks. It could be a resulting work of U.S.-led sanctions and pressure. So his foreign policy, whether it was his tweets or increased pressure or sending aircraft carriers, whatever Trump did, you can't say, because there are people who say, oh, well, this is Obama's economy. You can't say this is Obama's foreign policy. Obama never called Kim Jong-un Rocket Man. Okay. And the propaganda spin changed immedately. First it was, oh my God, he's gonna bring us to nuclear war, and now it's, you know what, that nuclear deal was horrible. Everything the propaganda, they don't know what to do. They can't change their propaganda fast enough because reality changes too fast for them. The Democratic Party and media, CNN, MSNBC. It's really hilarious too, because at the gym that I go to, if you're on the exercise bike, you look up and you'll see CNN in the evening, late in the evening, whatever. And it's like, what are they talking about during the Korean summit? Everything but giving Trump credit. Oh my God, is this really a good deal? Da, da, da. They can't possibly admit that they've been wrong this whole time. And the thing is, the hilarious thing also is that they've doubled down. They keep saying, they keep stating things like, oh, well, he'll lose. Oh, he won. Oh, he's going to be dangerous. Oh, there's a peace deal. Oh, the economy is going to tank. Good economy. Okay, so Norwegian lawmakers nominate Trump for Nobel Peace Prize. President Trump has been nominated by two Norwegian lawmakers for the Nobel Peace Prize following the summit with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. Christian Tybring-Gjedde and Per-Willy Amundsen, members of the Progress Party, said Trump has, quote, taken a huge and important step in the direction of disarmament, peace, and reconciliation between North and South Korea. Last month, 18 Republican lawmakers sent a letter to the Nobel Committee to pitch Trump for the Peace Prize. Asked afterward if he deserved the honor, Trump said, "Everyone thinks so, but I would never say it." The process of considering candidates and awarding the Nobel Prize is done in Norway. So it's obviously a very liberal, or the process is geared towards a President Obama or a person that is praised or, loved by CNN or the Washington Post or the New York Times. It would be absolutely fantastic. He deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. And he's probably on his way to it. Because you have Republicans already pushing for it. You have already people in Norway who are pushing, members of the parliament pushing for it. And when is the Nobel Committee? Nomination and selection for Nobel Prize laureates. There are 330 candidates for the Nobel Peace Prize for 2018, of which 16 are individuals and 144 organizations. So, nomination and selection for Peace Prize laureates. Doesn't say when. Candidate criteria. Below is a brief description of the process involved in selecting Nobel laureates. September. Okay. I don't know if it's September this year. Norwegian Nobel Committee prepares to receive nominations. Okay, so in September. Or was it September of last year? Okay, I don't know. All right, give me your thoughts below. You can go on the nobelprize.org, and if he's getting nominated by two people within Norwegian politics, then he hasn't missed any deadline. Norwegian lawmakers nominate Trump for Nobel Peace Prize June 13, 2018. So we'll see. I think that he has a very good chance, and I think that he's leaving. He's moving towards that. Momentum is building. Momentum is building towards a Nobel Peace Prize for President Trump. And again, it's not about what you think or I think or any naysayer or any person praising Trump. It's about what South Korea thinks and what Moon Jae-in of South Korea feels. And he actually stated that Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. Let's go ahead really quickly. And so this is the New York Post. But could you imagine what takes place when Trump wins the Nobel Peace Prize? Could you imagine? They won't know what to do. It'll be the worst day for Democrats. It'll be worse than Clinton losing the election. You'll see them crying at the Jacob Javits Center, like, "Oh, he won the Nobel Peace Prize, no!" And can you imagine them in 2020? "This man is a madman. He won the Nobel Peace Prize. He's crazy." Norwegian MPs back growing calls for Trump Nobel Peace Prize. This is fantastic. What's happening now is historic. Amundsen told state broadcaster NRK a process is underway to ensure world peace in the future. It's a fragile process, but we must, of course, do what we can to help this process bring good results. I think we can do by sending a clear signal. We can do that by sending a clear signal by giving Trump the Peace Prize. The nomination letter compares Trump's actions to those of President Theodore Roosevelt, who they note was given the prize in 1906 for his efforts with Russia and Japan at the end of the Russian-Japanese War. That's right. Both President Roosevelt and President Trump show that government leaders who are not afraid to show they are willing to use power can be tools for peace. So, again, the whole oh my God, look at this from this angle and that angle. Just, if somebody were to tell you that Trump would preside over this, what would you say? Nobody would have believed it. Now the impossible has taken place, and everyone wants to just, tear it down. Give me your thoughts below. This is a Fox article right here. There's a growing push for Trump to win the Nobel Peace Prize. I've been saying that he deserves it all along. And it really doesn't matter what anyone says. South Korea's president, Moon Jae-in, believes he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. That's the main person. That's the South Korean people and the South Korean government. That's what. And then, if you talk about Kim Jong-un, and I'm sure the people of North Korea are a lot happier now than they were prior to this. Give me your thoughts below. We're living in really, really wonderful times, or interesting times, I should say, where the party that's supposed to be on the left is really petrified and frustrated by peace. Peace that a Republican or Trump is presiding over because of his actions. And they can't stand it. They can't even stand the good economy. They certainly can't stand the Inspector General report that's going to come out very soon. Tomorrow? Andrew McCabe already suing the FBI and the DOJ after asking for immunity. Isn't that hilarious? He's going to get indicted. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Share this segment everywhere. Also, I have an HA Second Amendment channel. Speaking of peace, it's very, very, very peaceful and enjoyable, and the Second Amendment is mostly about peace for people who know how to utilize it. Well, millions and millions and millions and millions of Americans every day utilize the Second Amendment peacefully, responsibly, safely, and it just happens to be within our Bill of Rights. And this channel that I have, this is H.A. Goodman's. This is H.A. Goodman, 115,000 plus subscribers on our way to 116 and then 120. But I have a Second Amendment channel that is below in the pinned comment, and I am unboxing a California legal AK-47, Century Arms C39 V2. It's fantastic. And I look forward to showing some really wonderful footage of me at rifle ranges, and check that out. It's really, and I show it side by side with my 500 Smith & Wesson 50 caliber revolver, 50 caliber Smith & Wesson rounds. Anyway, that's below, and give me your thoughts below. Thank you so much for listening. Hit subscribe. I believe that Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. Give me your thoughts.